and welcome everyone. Today we will learn step-by-step SPSS data analysis with the Pearson Correlation test. We will learn the test with a research example and its data. From the research example, we will first state the research hypothesis and then analyze the data in SPSS step by step, and finally report the result and findings. We will first check whether the data meet the assumption of the test, and after that, we will test the hypothesis. At the end of the video, there is an exercise, and you can download the SPSS data for the exercise and practice your data analysis skill. Everything will be very simple and very easy to understand, so let us start. The Pearson correlation test is used to examine the strength of linear correlation between two variables with continuous data, either in interval or ratio scale. In correlation between variables, the variables are not classified as a dependent or independent variable. Correlation is a non-causal relationship which is represented by a double-headed arrow between the two variables. The value of Pearson correlation is called Pearson correlation coefficient. It is also named as Pearson's R, or Pearson product moment correlation coefficient. The result of a correlational study is either a positive correlation, a negative correlation, or no correlation. A positive correlation indicates that the value of one variable increases when the value of another variable increase and vice versa. On contrary, a negative correlation indicates that the value of one variable decreases when the value of the other variable increases and vice versa. The Pearson correlation coefficient is ranked from -1 to 1. Table 1 presents the strength of Pearson correlation coefficient. Pearson correlation test can be used for predicting the relationship between variables, examining the test-retest reliability of a research instrument. The following is a research example of data analysis using the Pearson correlation test in predicting the relationship between variables. In this example, a researcher investigates the correlations between three variables: stress, creativity, and imagination. The respondents are 6 people, students randomly selected from a social science student population in a university. In this research, the research design is correlational design. In this correlational design, the three variables stress, creativity, and imagination are continuous data, which is measured in score, in ratio scale. The objective of the research is to investigate whether there are correlations between stress, creativity, imagination among the social science students. The research question is, are there any correlation between stress, creativity, and imagination among the social science students? The three variables are connected with double-headed arrow to form the conceptual framework of this correlational design research. In data collections, the researchers select randomly a research sample consists of 6 people, students from a social science student population in a university. By using psychological tests, he collects stress, creativity, and imagination score from the research sample. We will use this data for analysis in SPSS. Before analyzing the data, the researcher needs to state the research hypothesis for hypothesis testing. The null hypothesis is there are no significant correlation between stress, creativity, and imagination among the social science students. The research hypothesis is There are significant correlation between threat, creativity, imagination among the social science students. In hypothesis testing, if the p-value of the Pearson correlation test is larger or equal to 0.05, the null hypothesis is true, and we will report the result based on the null hypothesis. However, if the Pearson correlation test results show that the p-value is smaller than 0.05, then the research hypothesis is true. We will reject the null hypothesis and we will report the result based on the research hypothesis. This concept must be very clear before we analyze the data. Before we analyze the data, we need to check the assumption of the Pearson correlation test. The three main assumptions of Pearson correlation test are: 1. Continuous scale data. It means the variables are in continuous scale, which is either in interval or ratio scale. 2. Normality. Normality means the data of the variables are distributed normally. We will check the normality by referring to skewness and kurtosis value. 3. Linearity. Linearity means the relationship between the variable is linear. We will check linearity with a scatter plot. Now we will analyze the data with SPSS. Before analyzing the data, we will enter the data into SPSS. To enter the data in SPSS, put the data in Microsoft Word at the left side, and the SPSS at the right side. As can be seen in the data, in this research we have three variables: stress, creativity, and imagination. To label the variable, click the variable view button at the bottom. Then type the variable names one by one into the name column. Stress, creativity, and imagination. A single word is only allowed for each variable in the name column. Then type the full name of the variable in the label column. Since the three variables are in single word, we can highlight the variable name in the name column, right-click, and copy the three variables. And then highlight the two rows in the label column and right-click and paste them. Then we move to the measure column. The three variables in the data are measured in score, which is in ratio scale. The data are continuous scale data. So we click the box and select scale for them one by one. For this data, other columns are optional. We can leave them without labeling them. With this, we have complete labeling the variables in the variable view. To enter the data into SPSS, click the Data View button. Then highlight the data of the three variables. Right-click and select Copy, then return to the SPSS data. Click the first cell and right-click and select Paste to paste the data into SPSS. Now the data is ready for analysis.